Greetings. I'm probably going to sound like Forrest Gump, but some days you wake up and you never know what's going to come your way. And today, this amplifier showed up more or less on my doorstep. There was a really nice local fellow who wanted to sell it, and he took it to some pawn shops and was thoroughly insulted by them, which is kind of typical, and it ended up coming my way. So I'm thrilled to present what I believe is a 1966 or 67 Fender Princeton Reverb amp in completely original condition. I don't fully understand the black grill cloth. We're going to check into that, and I'm going to completely disassemble this thing. We're going to look at every square inch of it and give you an idea of what it's got going for it and what it needs. Okay, I'll probably, like I did with the Gibson Lancer, do a restoration video on this, but this is the kind of day of reckoning video here when we check it out and see what it's going to need. Okay, so stay tuned, and we're going to dissect this beast and see what's inside. Okay, here's the front of the amplifier, and the grill cloth has me puzzled, because I would think it should be silver, and this may have been spray painted black for reasons that completely defy any logic, but I see no signs of any overspray anywhere like you normally see, where people just start spraying with a flat black paint. Why they do it, I have no idea, because otherwise it's just about a perfect grill cloth. We got the neat old raised Fender logo on the front, 2 instrument inputs, the original skirted Fender knobs. Some moron keyed the front of it here right down the line, and let's hope they're rotting in hell as we speak. Princeton Reverb amp, Fender Musical Instruments, so you know it's after CBS took over. Design and circuits patented 68. This 68 causes all this consternation. It doesn't mean 1968. I'm not sure what it means. It might be the 68 series of patents, or it's 1966, the 8th month, or who knows what it means. But it does not mean 68, because this would be a silver face if it were 68. Okay, on top, got the split handle, which I'll probably replace with a good one, and keep this, of course. Got the old braces here, the skids on top. All in all, just the way you want to get one, except maybe for the spray painted grill cloth. And I'm pretty excited. Well, here's the rear of the Princeton amp. As you can see, it's got the original old reverb tank in the bottom that's just dusty as heck. And this isn't good. Somebody's ripped the one of the contacts out of the speaker column, but it does have the upper and lower back doors. Okay, the handle's cracked. That's easy to fix. Let me pull the back covers off and let's take a close look at this chassis. Okay, here we are looking at the rear of the chassis with the back door off. Got the service receptacle. Cap is missing off of the fuse holder. Nice old Bakelite speaker plug. Sadly, the one lead pulled out of the speaker. I mean, all the way out, right where the connection is to the voice coil. That'll be fun to fix. Everything looks legit, and we've got an A18278, which I think is probably 1967. So this would be right at the end of the blackface Fender run. Okay, neat old shielded cables for the reverb tank, which is a dusty mess, but probably inside it's going to look real good. Let's hope. Okay, the speaker, I'm not sure on this speaker. I'm going to have to do some checking on it. It's a 10-inch. Plug's been changed over, but it's no big deal. Oh, one other thing, very important. Back in here, it's got AA764 Princeton Reverb amp. The tube chart's a mess, but a very important part of it's there, the AA 764. All in all, pretty much the way you like to find them, except maybe with that speaker wire pulled out. Okay, now let's pull out the chassis, flip it over, and take a look at both the circuitry and the tube and transformer side. Well, here's the tube and transformer side of the chassis of the Fender Princeton. I was a little nervous about this transformer. It's a little caved in on top, but it's a number 022772, which is Fender's correct part number for the transformer for a black-faced Princeton. It's also known as a 125P1B. Then the output transformer looked a little suspicious. Although I looked inside and these wires did not appear to have been resoldered, but it's an 022913. You can see it down here on the side, and that's the correct output transformer. It's also known as a 125A10B. This is the original reverb driving transformer. I plugged it in and got no sound out of it, but this tube is unmarked. It's supposed to be a 6V6. God only knows what it is, but it didn't light up. I might have been better off that it didn't. So we're going to have to check all these tubes and see. I also noticed there was a missing tube shield here. So I guess I'm just going to take this whole thing to the dump and just throw it away, because what's the use of even starting to work on an amplifier that's missing a tube shield? Oh, this is kind of cute. A British GZ34 or 5AR4 rectifier. Made in England. Well, you know it's good if it's made in England. Well, this is getting to be a real international amplifier. We've got a 12AX7 that was made in West Germany. If they're saying East or West, this is going to be an old tube. Yep, here's another one, a Telefunken, made in West Germany. Good stuff. Well, here's the Reverb Tank in its bag. I extracted from the cabinet. It was held in by this vinyl strap, and the two shielded cables that went up to the amp were still in their little black plastic holder, which I love. Let's open the bag and see what we got inside. Well, here's the underside of the Reverb Tank. There are these little plywood skids that are screwed on to these flanges, I guess to elevate it up off the floor. And then a sheet of ultra high quality cardboard was stapled to those wooden skids, I guess to cover the bottom and protect it from hungry rodents and other nefarious beasties. It's a tank from Gibbs Manufacturing. I expected an Accutronics. Everything looked good until I get over here, and then that's when the nausea kicks in, because the whole terminal part of the transducer coil has torn completely loose, so the wires have been ripped away from where they're normally soldered. I can look in here, try and find the ends of the wires, see if the coil still has continuity, and try and save it. It's going to be one of those little tasks that you know, gives you heartburn. If it works, it'll be great. Odds are it won't. We'll see. Okay, that's the underside of the Reverb Tank. Let's flip it over and take a look at the top. Well, here's the top of the tank. Nothing really remarkable except number 6632. We know that it's a Gibbs tank. Nice clean shape because it was in the bag. Okay, so this side's okay. It's that transducer coil that's got me really scared. I hope I don't have to replace this tank. I hope I can fix it. The old ones are always better. I was a little unsure about this speaker. The basket just didn't look that old, but you never can tell. Sometimes they'll use an oddball speaker, and then you get this really snazzy little Fender Bakelite plug. But no, at some time or other, somebody put in the mighty pile driver 2 with the foam perimeter. Who knows when this was done, probably 70s or 80s, but the voice coil is absolutely frozen solid in the magnet. So this is a total disaster that needs to go into the nearest dumpster. Sadly, although I have 12-inch speakers that are exactly right for this vintage of Fender amp, I do not have a 10-inch. So the pursuit will begin looking for the appropriate vintage 10-inch speaker for the mighty Princeton Reverb. Keep your fingers crossed. Here's a nice touch. This is the vinyl strap that holds the Reverb Tank down on the floor of the cabinet, and they embossed Fender on it. I thought that was a snazzy little touch there. You know, it's funny how they cut every corner they can to save expense, and then they throw in something like this that must have cost a little extra and really doesn't make the amp work better, but it's just kind of a nice little touch. Really cute. A touch that's nowhere near as nice is remember the black grill cloth that was cause for alarm and consternation? Well, obviously it's not right, because back here behind the speaker baffle where the spray can couldn't reach is the original Fender grill cloth, which is indeed the silvery metallic threaded grill cloth that we know and love on older Fender amps. So it looks like that hideous black cloth has got to go, and I'm going to have to replace it. I hate doing that because the new cloth is so bright, but my God, I can't leave that old flat black mess in the front of a nice amplifier. This is an odd touch. Up in the roof of the cabinet, which would be just above the chassis, is a piece of screen with like 9,000 random staples in it. I don't know if Fender did this or somebody added this to try to cut down on any electrical interference to the innards of the amp chassis. It's kind of unusual looking, and it wouldn't have done a darn thing unless somehow or other it was connected to the amp chassis itself so that it was grounded. You know, this may be the right power transformer for this amp, but it's the puniest power transformer I ever saw for a 7-tube amplifier. I don't know. We'll see if it works or not, but most of the amps I scratch build have output transformers bigger than that. Looks like all the tube sockets are original. Now let's flip it over and take a look at the innards. Well, here's the innards of the Fender Princeton, and I am absolutely elated because I don't see where anybody has done anything to this amp. All the soldering seems unchanged. I'm not thrilled with these missing screws, but it's the right transformer. Maybe it's the vibration of all the great music that was being played with it. Check this out, how they ground the pots with that big brass strip. And on the back, everything looks totally legit. All the old molded capacitors. I'll tell you, about this time is usually when I'm regretting that I ever spent $10 on some old non-working amplifier like this. But I'll tell you, I am getting more and more excited the deeper I dig into this. This is a really nice original amp. So this will be the end of video number 1, where we take a look at what we got, and then I'm going to make probably maybe a volume 2 or maybe volume 3 as I go through the restoration process. I promise I'm not going to change anything that can be seen easily. It'll be internal changes that'll make it work, and I will keep close records on what I do, videos if possible, and I'm going to keep you posted. So watch, and when you see volume 2, volume 3 come up, be sure to check in and see how the old Princeton's doing. Thanks for your time and your interest.